What's up, guys? Chadronius here. So just a few days ago during the Game Awards ceremony, a kid by the name of Matan Even crashed the Game Awards after Miyazaki was giving his acceptance speech for the Elden Ring Game of the Year award. So let me show you guys the clip.
Real quick, I want to thank everybody and say that I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
He says himself that he'd like to nominate the Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton. And during the stream that I was watching, people were starting to say that this kid's anti-Semitic and that was a dog whistle and that he's been on InfoWars. And personally, I didn't see that was a dog whistle, but I could just be dumb, and I'm also not terminally online. So I was a little interested in this kid. I didn't really care much else about the Game Awards. I mean, it's interesting, yeah, but you watch it mostly for the cringe stuff and stuff like this. So I decided to dig a little bit into Matan Even, the guy who crashed the Game Awards, and I came up on a tweet right here by Jason Schreier, who is a game journalist, and he says right here that he just spoke to the guy who interrupted the Game Awards. He says his name is Matan and that he's 15 years old. Some thought his speech was an anti-Semitic dog whistle, but he's almost certainly a Jewish prankster. He understood a question I asked in Hebrew, then pretended he didn't. And then right here it shows a picture of him Jason Schreier talking to Matan Even. So Jason Schreier believes that this guy isn't an anti-Semite, but just a prankster. I mean, at 15 years old, you're going to be a prankster. You're going to be a shit disturber. That much is a given. So you can't really scratch that out. So Polygon right here thinks a little differently. Polygon is a game journalist website, and right here it says that Evan described himself as as Jewish and repeatedly insisted that his statement about Bill Clinton was not anti-Semitic or associated with far-right politics, despite wearing a pair of Yeezys at last night's event. Evan told Polygon he believes Kanye West's political views are not good. So personally, I think wearing a certain article of clothing, other than as like stuff that's actually branded with like insignias, personally I think wearing certain articles of clothing doesn't make you an anti-Semite or racist. There's so many people in America that have Yeezys. Does that make every single one of them an anti-Semite because they own those pair of Yeezys? I really don't think so. And if you want to really start on this, do all the people who buy Balenciaga clothing, do they support do they support CP? Do the people who buy Fortnite skins that are Balenciaga branded, do they support Balenciaga and what they do? I really don't think so. So I think that's kind of like a really bad take to have. It just doesn't strike me as something, like as a smart argument or something to point out. The author of the article said that he found Evan to be cringe. And while yes, he was cringe, that's like the point. He said that he could have come up with something better. So Matan Even apparently was planning to do this 4 days in advance before the Game Awards ceremony. And I personally think he could have just said something better. He could have come up with something a lot better, funnier, something like that, more on the spot. But I mean, he said what he said either way, and people were saying that he could be he could be an anti-Semite for that. And I decided to do a little bit more digging, and I saw the InfoWars interview that he had. So during this interview, Matan Evans says that he is a fan of Trump and that he likes that he signed the bill for Hong Kong. And that's the point. During the interview in InfoWars, they strictly talk about Hong Kong, at least the parts that I've seen. I've sped through it just to listen to it. And most of the talking that was going on was about Matan Even and his support for Hong Kong.
So they have the dance cam. Everybody's on the Jumbotron. He holds up the Clippers jersey. Switch. Fight for freedom. Stand with Hong Kong. Oh, get the camera off of him. Shut it down. Shut the whole thing down. Oh my God.
If you guys don't remember, China was threatening to take over Hong Kong again, just a few years ago. And there was a little hubbub on the internet, and everybody was talking about how they support Hong Kong and that they don't support the Chinese government attempting to take them over. So Matan Even right here got a shirt, and when he was at a baseball game, he held up another shirt. And when they panned to him, he quickly dropped the other shirt and pulled up the Free Hong Kong shirt, and they quickly panned off of him. And that's what the interview's about. So Matan Even crashed the Blizzard's Hearthstone championship, And the winner of the game, Blitz Chung, got on stage and said that he said free Hong Kong, crisis of our time or strife of our time, something of that nature.
然后你随时可以开始，头先低下来。
光复香港，时代革命。
老婆可以切回来了。
And he was banned from the game for 6 months, and he had his money withdrawn, which was about $4,000. And he wasn't able to get that money until the community around Hearthstone gave Blizzard enough backlash to the point where they decided to give the money back to Blitz Chung, but they still had him banned for 6 months, and he hasn't played Overwatch in over 2 years. And the other two interviewers got their pay docked, and they were kicked off, and they lost their positions. So Matan Even also crashed esports event, and that's pretty much what the interview was about.
So basically, there was a esports player. If you know what esports is, it's like a gaming with sports, and there was an esports player named Blitz Chung, and I wasn't informed of this because I don't personally watch what he was playing, but he was playing a game called Hearthstone, if I'm correct, and after he won, he said some things about Hong Kong, and China, of course, wasn't very happy about that, and so Blizzard, the people who hosted the game and the whole convention of BlizzCon, they decided to hold his money and ban him.
All in all, you can think what you think. You just do a little bit of digging into this yourself before you take any information from anybody else. But I personally don't think that this kid is anti-Semitic. I used to watch Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder when I was younger, and I grew up out of that. I don't really watch that kind of content anymore, and this kid could be exactly the same. But you guys just have to dig into it yourself. Just make sure that you look into it, get your own information first before you take anything else from anybody else. Take any information from anybody else, and just come up with your own conclusions. So all in all, I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll be seeing y'all later.